Welcome to the 100th episode of Middle Fingers Up. First, I want to take a moment to thank each and every one of you, my amazing guests, the listeners, and everyone who's given feedback along the way. This journey wouldn't be what it is without your stories, your support, and honesty. Over the course of 100 episodes, we've built something really special. A community of people who are unafraid to have real, raw conversations about identity, mental health, and everything in between. It's been an incredible ride. And while I'm not saying here's to 100 more, I think we're definitely open to wherever this journey takes us next. And, of course, it wouldn't be the 100th episode with a little classic chaos. So why wouldn't we have some audio issues today, right? It's just keeping us humble. So sorry if the first couple minutes of this fantastic episode with JRDN, Jordan, is going to not sound great, but hang in there. It gets better. In all seriousness, though, I am very grateful for the connections we've made. And we just can't wait to see how this community continues to grow. It can't grow without all of you. We can have a podcast, we can have a mic, we can record, but we need to have conversations that are not just one-sided. And so without you, there's really no MFU. So thank you for making this possible. And you know these conversations are door openers. So please, please, please reach out and let us know what more you want to hear, what's on your mind, because we're here. We're here for it, and we'll do it. Anything and everything to serve our community and make it better. Enjoy. Welcome to Middle Fingers Up, the show where we hold our heads high and our middle fingers higher. I'm your host, Kieran McKay. Okay, I could not be more excited about today's episode for two, maybe like three or five by the time I'm done telling you why reasons, but for sure for two. One, we have a very special guest, none other than Jordan, or as many of us remember him, the voice that lit up our car radios, JRDN. We all know him for his incredible musical career, but there's a little more to his journey that I'm excited to sit down and talk to him about because he promised me real talk today. So super excited to have him. The second reason I didn't forget, so I'm like totally on a roll, doing really well. But why I'm so excited is today we're celebrating our 100th episode. So this makes me really excited. Yeah, I think I couldn't think of a better way to mark the occasion. That having this genuine conversation with someone like Jordan. This is the first time I'm meeting him. I've had few interactions with him. But what's stood out for me right away was his warmth and how easy it is to connect with him. And that's really what we love doing here, is talking about warmth and connection and having genuine conversations. So to me, Jordan is real and down to earth. And that's exactly why we're here today. We're gonna invite him to chat with us on our 100th episode. With Men's Health Awareness around the corner, I think it'd be really cool to talk to him about his life, things that have gone well, the good, bad, and the ugly, whatever he's willing to share with us. Okay, so I think this is the time where I can officially welcome Jordan. Hi.
Hey, Karen.
How are you?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Very, very well. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks for having me, and congratulations, 100th episode.
Yay. Thank you. Yeah, we're really excited. It's been a fun journey. It's been a cool journey. It's been a learning journey, and super grateful for all the folks that have been part of this, allow me to talk weekly and want to hear what we're talking about, contributing, asking to come on. And then folks like you that are willing to give, mental health a moment and talk about some of the things that really go on for all of us. And so I think this is a really cool time to, start sort of seeing what we're going to do next. But we're not going to go there. We're not going to talk about that today. I want to talk a little bit about you. So why don't we start with, it's Throwback Thursday. And we always say what's new. So maybe we can say what's old. Like what's something nostalgic that, comes up for you today on this Throwback Thursday?
nostalgic today. I was actually just checking out a video that I did with my buddy in New Jersey. I was looking at what shot to use as, the backdrop or whatever. And it was a Magic Johnson jersey, just having some feeling about, when he was a champion, because the song is called Champion. So I was like thinking about the Lakers championships, and then I had some flashbacks in my mind about, because I was a little bit younger when the Lakers were winning their championships. I wasn't even a fan of basketball then, but I am a huge fan. I used to play for many years, so I was having a little basketball moment and flashbacks with the Lakers winning. Yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
also the Bulls beating them too.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Bulls fan.
Oh yeah, like every little kid, I bet, in our time growing up.
Yeah.
Huge reason to be a Bulls fan as well. I think there was probably real role models, coming out, and of color role models too, which was really cool growing up and seeing that, especially for the boys growing up. So basketball. Okay. So I was learning a little bit about you, and I was like, okay, so I'm looking up your music, I know what I know. And then, it's cool. I learned some new stuff. And then your musical journey, which we'll get to, is really interesting. Jordan just kind of goes and then comes out and throws us something and then goes away for a minute and then comes back and, hey, I'm here. And we're like, oh, well, okay, here you are. So it's going through this journey. I'm like, okay, there's stories in between, which is what I'm kind of looking forward to talking about.
Right. Yeah.
But basketball, along this learning, a little bit learning about you, you're a huge basketball player. You played in France for a time.
I played a year in France. I played for Team Canada, won a couple national titles in CIS basketball in Canada at St. FX University. So yeah, I played for many years, and that was a big part of my journey, to be honest. Yeah.
So the singing and then the basketball. So which, the chicken or the egg, which came first? Actually, the music came first. I always forget to tell this part of the story, but I was always my brother had a ton of CDs, and when for CDs in 85, 86 first came out, stuff compact disc. But I was in my class in elementary school. I was in the choir, and our choir got selected to sing with Raffi, the children's singer. So I got to go sing with Raffi, went to a studio and recorded on one of his records. And that always that at that moment when I'm 8 years old, I wasn't thinking, hey, I'm going to make music one day. That came shortly after. About 3 years later, I moved to Halifax, and discovered my voice and singing and being in Jane and Finch. I came up around, I don't know if you know the Dream Warriors. King Lou of the Dream Warriors, my definition. He was like big brother to me. He lived upstairs from us and babysat. So they used to teach me the culture, breakdancing, and the elements of hip hop and stuff. So I kind of was around it, not knowing in my mind that I would fall in love with it. But it came right when I moved back to Halifax, and I fell in love with, my boys fell in love with how it felt singing a babyface song called Sunshine. And so that was it. And then I was in this new community, and everybody was basketball players, and everyone singing wasn't the cool thing to be doing, and a couple guys made fun of me, and I was just like, all right, let me come back to this in a minute. So I fell in love with the game of basketball at the same time, and pretty much within months of each other, and decided to come back to the music when the legs ain't working no more. But yeah, no, it was pretty much, that's how it came about. And I moved to the community, and I sang in it's like a hood Cinderella play that we were doing in the community, and I was singing in it. It's called Cindy's Shoe. What did you have? Was it a musical? Were you?
I can't remember the songs that we sang or anything, but I do remember I had a shiny little gold jacket on, and I wasn't shy to get up in front of people and sing. Like girls, yeah. So did you have family that? Yeah. I'm North Preston. My dad's from North Preston. He was born in North Preston, Nova Scotia. It's the largest Black community in Canada. And, we had a lot of, the church was huge, going to church and being in the choir and singing, hymns and gospel, it was really big. So there was a lot of my family members that I still say to this day, I'm just the only one that went after it as a career. Because they could sing me any day, you know what I mean? So it was just, in our blood, and, the spirituals and that kind of thing coming from North Preston, and the pain too of, the Underground Railroad, the Black Loyalists of Nova Scotia, you know what I'm saying? So it's just in my blood. So I just, I wasn't a great singer, but they go, but they they accepted me as the singer of the family. So
Okay, you were the great. You were like the worst singer of the family. Oh
yeah,
my
I'm
god!
telling you, my
If you
cousins.
were the great one, I'd love to like go. Let's call the great one. Let's
Yeah,
talk
well,
to them.
I put a lot of years into it. So when I started out, I was singing
I
off key, pitchy, and with anything in life, if you work hard and you just put your effort and energy to it, you get better. So still
for
getting better,
sure.
still getting.
Can I circle back to something?
Mhm.
Sorry, this is like
Sure.
the counselor in me.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good.
So when you were playing basketball and the kids are like, what are you doing singing? Like, what is that thing? So, that's
Right.
like the whole toxic masculinity, especially when we're growing up, or we're kind of like the same age or a bit older, but
Mhm.
whatever. You're growing up at boys are boys, like that wrestling,
Mhm.
all that kind of stuff. And
Right.
so
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
guys are playing basketball, you're man, sport.
Right.
So
Right.
when you were like, oh, okay, yeah, maybe I'll tuck this back. How did you get back to that? Like, how did
I
you
used it
decide?
as
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what I did. I actually I used it as motivation because the way that they now we can get deeper like into it, peel back some layers. So my brother, God rest his soul, passed away about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, and he was gay. And I found out around the time that I fell in love with singing, and I found out what that meant. And they used that as a thing. Oh, you're just a gay guy, bleep bleep like your brother, this, that, and the third. And I knew that, I liked girls. I knew it wasn't, a thing. And I understood when I had the conversation with my brother, my mom, I understood, but I just was like, all right, cool. Well, I'm gonna take what you love because you're making fun of something that I found, and I'm gonna be better than it at you. So I use it as motivation, to be
that's
honest.
pretty cool. Like, how do you,
Yeah.
can I break that down with you? Like, I just think of other kids or even men, even, as a grown ass man today,
Mhm.
it's still hard to like go to that place and do that because you're
Yeah.
taught what you're taught and your brain keeps repeating
Right.
what it's repeating, that sort of thing. And so, like, how do you, if there's others listening that are like, man, like I really want to pursue this passion but my
Right.
community or my family may not accept it or what, like,
Yeah.
what would you say to them?
I would say, I mean, I was lucky because I believe my mom and my dad when they told me like, I could be anything I want to be and whatever it is I want to be to do that. So I really, I took that to heart. But I would say to find like-minded people if you're not surrounded by the people that are uplifting and watering and nurturing your dreams, find those people and stay close to those people that can give you the nod and the pat on the back to get you to keep going because it's important to have people in your corner that push you and believe in you.
You had some good people in your village growing up
Oh
that
yeah,
that
definitely,
helped guide you and shape you.
100% in all walks of life, in all careers. I was lucky to have a lot of people like even with as far as the RCMP and the police force and stuff like that have set up jobs for me and have gave me choices when I was doing the wrong things in life to if he makes this choice, then and then making the right decision to not follow a path. And a lot of definitely the community is great that way, but there's also hardships in the community where I came from that some people aren't strong-minded enough and don't have enough self-esteem and belief in themselves to do anything else. And I could have been one of those people to fall victim of the environment that I came up in. So I
Right.
was lucky.
Yeah, because like when we get to know you a little bit, we learned you had sports in your life,
Mhm.
you had music in your life, and these are outlets that are always encouraged. We continue to encourage them as we learn so much about how they impact kids.
Mhm.
Yet every kid, especially marginalized kids, like that's just not always what we've always had available to us or what others do. And so like I'm so grateful that I'm in a place where my kids, my boys can get that because you
Mhm.
see, especially now, like I have a teenager. And so you're just learning like, oh, like this is, a lot about who you were at that age. And sometimes you see through these kids and you're like, okay, there were things that I wish I had or, had
Right.
opportunities. And
Right.
so, so I think it's really neat to like hear you, Canadian kid growing up, and having access to all of that. So
Yeah.
that's
No, no,
that's
I was
pretty
lucky.
awesome.
It was Uniac Square in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So we had a lot of talented athletes come out of there, like Olympic medalists in boxing,
Yeah.
and there was a lot like they're the first rap group to ever come, one of the first rap groups in Canada. Um, After like, but yeah, like back in the '80s, MCJ and Cool G. So we had people that we could see like physically that were like on TV,
Yeah.
and bringing gold or bronze medals back to the neighborhood. So it was like a lot of influenced that way where you could see success, but we were still living in poverty at the same time. So it was just that bright light seeing,
Yeah.
okay, we can make something of ourselves. We work hard at something. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah. Mhm.
Okay, so let's just talk a little bit about music for a second. Okay, music. So like you explore all the genres. So you
Yeah.
do it all. You're so versatile. Like not
Mhm.
everyone can pull that off. So how did you go about, because you started with R&B, hip hop, and then
Mhm.
you've done kind of everything. So tell us a little bit about how you explore the genres, and then like which one best you relate to, which one's like your go-to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I remember the first record I ever really, not when I, in hindsight, thinking back, it was Tina Turner, Proud Mary. So my
Yeah.
parents had in Jane and Finch, they had a waterbed, and they had A-track player, with the brown velvet all surrounding, whatever. Anyway, I remember putting this song on it and just feeling that soul, feeling this like it's such a soulful record. You know what I mean? So I've always like wanted to be in that light as a vocalist, but being young and starting out, just finding my voice, that wasn't in the cards. But for me, it was always, R&B first, because Babyface was one of my biggest influence, and one of the biggest love song ballad songwriters of all time, not in any genre, I think, in my opinion. But just, I always had that there. And then, like I said, I tell people, because of, hip hop and how the King Lou and the Elements raised me. I always say hip hop raised me, but R&B saved me. but
Oh,
but yeah, so I always say that. But it's like I just always wanted to do soul music, because I love the sound of James Brown and, like, Otis Redding and Sam Cooke. But I didn't learn those. Like, my brother was a huge fan of the divas, and, like, Gladys Knight, Patti LaBelle, and Etta James. He listened to all of, like, the big, like, Whitney. Like, he would just rinse that stuff. So I really lend to just, like, big voices and great vocalists. I love that was my thing. So just knowing that I wasn't a great vocalist when I started out, I was like, I gotta work.
yeah.
But I'm coming into a point in my career where I'm finding that sound now. So in the future, in the next year, you'll be hearing, what I've been working towards my whole career. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to dance stuff too. To be honest, it started out for me like when I started experimenting with, like, EDM and pop sounds and stuff, is when I signed my record production deal with Kuya. And then, there would be DJs that want these type of records, because I like, even with like Magic, which was my biggest song, I didn't really like. I wasn't really a huge fan of it, because of I was really wanted to be like straight R&B, like slow jams. You know what I'm saying? Like, and but once I started doing those records and felt how it kind of it was easy for me to do. It's like, oh, and it's fun, and being in Miami for, like, what was, I forget, the Ultra music festival, like stuff like that. I got to go hang out in some spaces I wouldn't be in, like, fist pumping and all that. So it just became fun, and a part of something that if I found the right record, it's fun to do.
Yeah.
But I'm not a huge fan of doing the dance all the time. I like singing into a pocket where it's more smooth and soulful.
You have some really good jams that are just that.
Thank you.
What's the cringe song for you? Because you've
Like
been
Magic.
singing. It is Magic. It's not You Can
Yeah,
Have It All.
it's like Magic.
It is Magic. That's okay.
Yeah,
I'm glad that if you're gonna pick one out of the two, is that one.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, I said, and I mean, it's been a while. The reason why is because we were writing it in LA, and it's actually funny, is that Babyface's studios in Edmonds Towers in LA, just after he got divorced and lost the whole studio. But it was in that building, and we were writing it, and my producers had the idea to, like, I think the big record at the time was Single Ladies. So my producer at the time was like, yo, let's just put this little part in, oh, baby, oh. And I'm like, I come from a cloth where we don't like to bite, we don't like to steal people's stuff. Nah, so that right away, that's what turned me off to the record. And then it just felt like it was copying something, and nobody could tell. But if you listen to the Single Ladies and you listen to the Magic part of it's the exact same. And for me, just personally, I was just like, I don't want to be that guy. And I didn't want to put that out first, and or second. Sure enough, they put it out, and it went crazy. People loved it.
Yeah, they did. Okay, so then So what was that like for you? Like, this is something that's representing you. This is part of your reputation. You're building it. You're this walking billboard board, just kind of like, hey, like get to know me. And now you're putting out something as an artist, like as a creative, that's not really your best thing or your favorite thing or something you're connected to. So like, what was that like for you while we're all like, yay, like repeat calling the radio stations, like, so we're
It
not
was a lesson.
we're disconnected, right? As
Yeah,
your
it
audience.
was totally a lesson for me in business, and knowing that you don't always and this it happens to a lot of artists. There's tons of artists. Like I was just watching like a real Tyrese was talking about Sweet Lady when he first heard that demo. Like he didn't write it, it came to him, and he didn't want to sing it. He didn't like it. It ended up being his big record. It happens to a lot of artists, and it's I guess a lot the business that I learned from that is just trusting your team. And I was on the label at the time, and I was like, okay, they do this. This is what they do. So trust your team, and not being afraid to take a chance or fail.
Yeah.
And because if you fail, you have another shot to keep going. So it's like it's not that I thought I would fail. It's just like I was like, nah, that's not really good at me. But then when that record did so well, that's when I leaned into more pop sounds and more because people like that. And they even just a few years back, I decided like because some shows I wouldn't do like Magic, and so many people were like, why are you doing like Magic? Why are you doing like Magic? But now it's just like I'm singing that at every show because I know the impact.
You are?
Yeah, I have to. I have to. It becomes a thing where it's like your fans definitely want to hear that because that's what they know you for. So those two songs and You Can Have It All. I cannot do a show without singing those two.
Yeah. Okay, so then what's the one that if we're at your show and you're like, you did these and you're like, here you go. But what's the one where like, you're like, this is the song that you like cannot wait to sing tonight? Like which one of all yours?
I mean, You Can Have It All. Always like I always save that for the end of the show, and it's always the one song that even when I've traveled outside of the country, that if I sang a little bit of some people they recognize it. So it's the one song that I always leave to the end because I know that people are waiting to hear that, and for me, it makes me love the song more too because I'm waiting for that moment.
Anticipation.
They're going to sing it back. There's a spot where they're going to sing the parts. We drop the music. They let them hear themselves sing. So it's that one for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome. Okay. So let me just play a little game, get to know you a little bit more because I'm asking you so many serious questions.
That's all good. That's all good.
Okay. Okay. Also, I forgot to tell you, I do a segment. You think it'd be my first episode. So I do a middle fingers up segment. So I ask my guests always like, what do you want to put your middle fingers up to? So I didn't tell you ahead of time because I just didn't want to keep bothering you. Good. So maybe this is the good time to, or if you want to take a minute and think about it, but like, something you want to put your middle fingers up to, it can be whatever, or it could be, this is your moment, like something that your PSA or,
What should I do it in the camera?
Oh yeah, I do like that too. Like, yeah. If you have the sweater, then you can then it
I was MFU on there. Right? I love it. It's dope. It's dope.
My sister,
I would love that. She's into those.
She's such a good artist. Yeah. The middle child.
That's dope.
She's so good.
I would say War. Let's go with War.
Okay, let's talk about that. Tell me more about War. What is it that you want to? What do you?
That's the thing. I don't like talking about it. I'm just like one of those guys that since it's the background is just like why, and it hurts. So it's like something I don't like discussing because I'm not a politician by any means, and I don't want to get mixed up in all of it. But it's just something that it hurts me as a human to know that this is happening on our planet.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, like, you are mixed up in it, and I think that's the hard part, right? Like you have this platform and people, and not just you, but like, a lot of your fellow colleagues, like there's this platform and a lot of people look to a lot of you about, okay, what do you think? Unfortunately, we follow, you guys are like our politicians sometimes. And it's hard, I think, when you have musicians or artists or people that you love and you follow, and then you don't know what they think or not, or you get you understand, like, person of color to person of color, I would imagine we're talking the same thing indirectly without coming out and saying it. But sometimes it's hard, I feel, for marginalized people in particular, like looking to, like you said, you're finding your voice, your singing voice, and some of us are looking to find ours, like where do we speak up to or whatnot. And, genocides, war, whatever people are calling it, like it's happening, and it's
Yeah.
it's hard when we can't make space and time for it. So
Yeah, no, I know. It is.
I get what you're saying though. Like I do
Yeah.
understand. Like I feel that way, but I feel that way because I'm building my voice in real life. Like
Mhm.
know, like I
No,
don't
I
know.
feel
I'm
you. Yeah,
not
and it's
trying
the
to give
same thing.
you.
Like
Am I
you
giving
said,
you
as an
crap
artist.
right now?
Pardon me?
I'm not giving you crap. Am I giving you crap?
No,
I'm not.
not at all.
No.
No, because I
Okay.
feel
Just like I'm like I'm
because
not
I feel like
inviting you here to be
I
like.
feel no, I totally feel the same way. Like I'm putting out love songs and ballads and stuff when there's so much ugly going on in the world, and it's tough as an artist to, even sit down and try to, create something that you want to, you know, get your voice on, and then there's so many fickle fans and fickle people and out there that just take it the wrong way, or so being quiet doesn't help either, and I understand that. So it's a tough one to
I know.
really dive into for me, especially when I don't have all of the information and the knowledge of really what's going on behind it all, because it's something that I'm one of those people that I'd rather not know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
It's like that Friends episode.
yeah.
He knows, I know, she knows. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Did you watch Friends ever?
I did. Well, I didn't. I wasn't totally into it, but my roommate in university, one of my teammates, every night he's like, "You're watching Friends." Yeah. My TV, you're watching Friends. All right, cool.
I got into it like really late. Like I like we're watching Lost now. Like I get into shows like 100 years after the film. I'm like,
yeah,
just late to every party.
We're watching Prison Break right now.
Oh, are you watching? Oh, who's that actor?
Yeah, that's an older one.
What's that actor's name?
I forget. I don't know his name. Michael Scofield is the character I think you were talking about, or is the Australian guy?
Yeah, I don't know, but like, yeah.
The hot guy. I know. I get it. That's all good.
I didn't know.
I said it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry. I've been listening to some Megan Thee Stallion. She's teaching me how to own it a little bit. So, yeah. Okay, Jordan, let's talk about more things now. I'm going to move things along here, and I'm just looking at some of the stuff because I'm like, I want to ask you so many things. Like, it took so much time to ask you questions, and then, okay, like, how about this? Like, let's just do randos, okay? Moments, mindful moments with Jordan. What song changed your life and why?
Sunshine by Babyface, because it helped me find my voice as a singer.
Yeah, so good. Mm-hmm. The remake's good too.
With Jay-Z. That's the one with Jay-Z. I can't go a day without my sunshine. That's the one he did. They kind of remixed it, him and Jay-Z on, but the original is a different vibe. Really check it out if you haven't heard it.
Listen to Love is the album. Check it out. He's just told you. Okay. We're going to start to like just talk a little bit more men stuff now, okay? Vulnerability and all that. You know what that means in the work you do, the songs you write. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. Actually, my son, my 10-year-old was like, can you please ask Mr. Jordan, like, where does he find his inspiration for his music? Because we've been like listening to a lot of you, getting ready for this interview. And so he's very musical. He plays the piano. And so he wanted to know, he's like, oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Where does he get his inspiration? Because then he heard some love songs and he's like, oh.
Yeah.
So please answer that one for Mr. Terrence.
Terrace? Terrace. Love is always the driving force. And I mean, I guess, kind of pulling from emotion that I've either experienced or am experienced in real time. But definitely pulling from emotion is the best way for me to find inspiration. Is like, how am I feeling? Or if I'm working with someone else, how are you feeling today? Like, what happened to you this week? What, talk about, the present emotion, emotional journey that you're on at that time, and from the past as well that I may not have touched on, songwriting wise. Maybe a moment that I pull from that's from my childhood that I remember, but at the time wouldn't even have known I would put it into song. But just my journey, my life, people around me, my environment, and love, definitely. Love be the driving force always.
Mm-hmm. What's the hardest emotion to write about?
The hardest, I say losing. Like I mean, it's hard, talking about losing a loved one, or, a memory or a moment that you can't get back with somebody, or, lost. I guess that's the top. Lost is a hard one to talk about. And of course, social climate, what's happening in the world. It's always tough.
Yeah. Did you grow up always writing before you started writing for music?
I kind of did, because I found my mom had some poetry she found from when I was in grade 5 or 6. I was like, whoa, that was pretty good. I was like, oh, that wasn't bad.
Awesome.
Yeah, that wasn't. I was like, okay, I see why you kept that one. But no, I was always, I wasn't writing a lot, but I did like poetry. And when I got to university, English really started to be something I got more interested in out of everything I was studying. And no, I just feel, definitely I wasn't really a bookworm or nothing like that. First song I ever wrote was called Love Song.
Yeah. Look at that.
It was called Love Song. So and it was something I just freestyled, just came out of me, so just feel, just write, like I said, emotion, and hopefully it can really translate to somebody relating to it or feeling something from it.
Right. You mentioned a couple minutes ago, is this your process? It in the moment, is that how you, the song that I'm listening to, is that
always, how it wasn't always, because like I said, my songwriting development over the years has been a journey, and writing with, seasoned, Grammy award winning writers, and being in different rooms with different producers, and learning and being a sponge and learning has helped me so much along the way. I think always coming to that space where you have to feel something, it has to mean something, is where I always try to pull from. But I've been lucky to be around some amazing songwriters and pulled a little here and there, because I always wasn't a strong songwriter, and I'm still working to be a better songwriter. But it's, something like you just keep doing it, keep plugging away. I feel like getting better as the time goes on.
I really appreciate that about you. And you kind of started that, you said that in the beginning, just about, when you were finding your voice and just that trying. And I think that sometimes that's the hard part in life, is that the fear and the unknown, and it stops ourselves. We stop, doubt is a murderer. It kills our creativity. It kills, dreams. It kills hope. And so how do you, doing the work you do, having so many haters out there that oh, I hate this song, or I love the song. How do you not let doubt murder all of that juice?
Honestly, it's just, making the decision that this is what I'm going to do. You know what I mean? I wouldn't change the journey at all, because things may have been different if, I wasn't made fun of and called names at that time. I might have went into the studio and could have had a horrible experience as a child singer. You know what I mean? Which we know that are happening to a lot of you see here the stories and stuff. So, I wouldn't change a thing. But I think just believing in myself, and like I said earlier, my mom instilling in me, whatever it is, don't just take. And my dad, he doesn't say much, but he's always told me to take your time. Just take your time. So just having that support at home for me is what always just all right, my heroes told me I can do it. So, what everybody else says.
Middle finger up to all that. And that's the thing, like you said earlier, finding your village, finding your community who's going to be honest, but also uplift you, so that we can be the best. And somebody said this really well the other day, we're at our best when we're serving our community and we're giving back. Right. In the ways that we can. And so learning about our talents, I think, is one of those interesting things that many of us live life and don't even go and explore or learn about or what. And so I don't know, maybe you have some advice for people out there, because there's lots of creativity out there, and I know we have to survive, we have to work, I understand that, but even just a little bit of that, how do you foster that inner child, that innocence? What would you suggest to people?
If it makes you happy, whatever it is, if it makes you happy, because happiness can, give you longevity in life. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if it makes you happy, then you should really pour into that whatever it is. It could be planting, it could whatever it is. If it's something that you're completely passionate about, don't let nobody get in the way of that, not even yourself. Because your happiness is important to you, and you have to keep yourself high. That's why, I love So even in all of those times with, knowing that I wasn't going to be singing until my basketball career was done as a profession, all those years, I still continued to sing. You know what I mean? I was the guy on the bus, going, to tournaments and shut up, Jordan. Everybody on my team in university, coach, don't put me in Jordan's room. He's up too early singing and all that. You know what I mean?
Oh, that's so cute.
I love it. Like you said earlier, it makes you feel good. You have fun, even though the family ain't hearing it. You feel good when you're doing it right.
Yeah, by myself in my car.
You just got to do it. And if and the other thing I would say too is don't get discouraged when it's not happening right away for you. Whatever it is you want out of it, you got to put in. Put the work in and really work hard at it. And it won't feel like work if you love it anyway.
Mm-hmm. That's well said. Lessons, like you've been in the music industry, you've played basketball, you also, I'm sure, have done lots of other lovely things in between. What's like a hard lesson that you hold close by that you're still learning from?
I mean, for me in the music industry is trusting people to be who they say they are when it comes to the business side of things. And even in life in general, not even the music, just like my mom instilled in me, always try to see the good in people. And sometimes that can hurt you with your surroundings and the people you keep close to you. So I guess the lesson is, not surrounding myself with anybody that's, nurturing and supporting and encouraging, finding ways to stay away from negative energy. And sometimes it draws me in, and that's a lesson I'm learning.
That's the lesson you're still learning. That's your book right there. The lesson I'm still learning. Any encouragement for men, it's men's health awareness. I'm raising 2 men. I love, I grew up with brown boys, and just my heart goes out to our guys out there that even today find it, I think, difficult at times to be able to talk, go check out their health issues, whatever it may be, because you're told you got to tough it out and everything in between. And I'm not a guy. This is just from my, my understanding sitting over here. So what comes up for you? How do you take care of yourself? What are some ways that you stay true to, what's really going on for you versus, suck it up and fuck it kind of mentality?
I would just, because I'm just recently, experiencing these same things. It's like talking to someone. And for me, it's, been my partner, me and her, we've had, she's an amazing listener and gives me great advice. So talking to somebody that, cares about you and loves you, but being truthful and honest with them about even the things that you wouldn't want to, say to anyone. And the one thing that's helped me as well is talking to my mom about things that I may have kept from her until her end. But I what, it's helping me so much be more confident in who I am, is being open with her about bad things I've done, the good things I've done, the things that I thought she didn't know, the things that she did know and I thought she didn't. Just having those conversations, going out to lunch with my mom and like I said, my girlfriend, and just being, open about some of the traumas or, things that you haven't dealt with in your life is key. And it's been helping me. I still haven't gone to therapy, but I will. And I just think that, I'm easing into it by just being more open and truthful about things that I wouldn't tell people. You know what I'm saying? And don't always trust everyone to tell everyone that, but and but it becomes more like once you start talking about it with people, it becomes more, okay, I can say this to maybe not a complete stranger, but somebody if I feel their energy and not feel a way about it, because the people that I love know the truth. So it becomes a little bit less of a load of dealing with certain traumas and stuff. So I would suggest talking to people that, it might be hard in different cultures to have that approach, but if you know what I mean, just, work up the strength and just open up, even if it may hurt the other side, the listener, or yourself more, but I think in the end, it heals.
Yeah. Oh, that was very well said, Jordan. And also the therapy thing, if I can just add, I think it's great. I think it's important. I'm a fan of it, but I also think there's so many other ways that we can have that therapeutic process, whether it's writing, talking, finding ways, like you said, to trust, whether it's one person or what, these are all parts of of that therapy process that some of us are ready, some of us aren't, like talk therapy isn't for everyone. And so I think there's a lot of outlets out there and we have so much more access to learning about them now. And so I think the key, which is like the biggest thing that you've said, is just letting it out and talking and starting somewhere. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be nice, just getting it out and having loved ones around that sort of help us unravel that and unpack that and work through that. So I just think sometimes people are like, oh, I didn't, therapy and stuff. And because we feel bad that we have to do that. And I think it's not for everyone, right? Like it's for some, it's not for everyone, but talking is for everyone. So.
Yeah. You'd be surprised once you just open up, even if it's, even if it's that one person that you don't connect to your family or people that know you that you can maybe relate to in a way, and there's people online, there's phone numbers that you can connect with people to talk to that, that you won't feel a way about, this person knows my life now, or, what I'm saying? Because that's what I think it boils down to. People don't want people to know certain traumas and, things that happen to them because they're ashamed. And it's a lot of the cases, it's not their fault. So.
Yeah. And I think you're right. It's like, A, it's not your fault. And B, talking, we kind of like jump to feel like we have to get out traumatic experiences or certain rough experiences. But I think the key first is like getting it out within ourselves. Like so many people have shame and don't want to even address it within. And so we jump to the hard part, which is like, oh, I can't tell someone, but it's like, no one says you have to. It's just starting with like accepting that, okay, this crappy thing happened and what do I want to do about this now? Do I want to live alongside it? Do I want to suffer? Do I want to work on it or whatever? But yeah, I think sometimes we think, oh, I'm not ready, but be ready to talk to yourself. Like, how do we get ourselves there? I think first.
Yeah. Hyping yourself up. It's definitely tough, but once you get there, it becomes a lot less of a load and weight off your shoulder.
Yeah. Okay. The two things. So second last thing is anything that you wish, like I asked you, or that, I am going to give you a moment because you have tour, you have your new stuff coming out. So I think we should talk about that too. But anything you wish I'd asked you or that, you wanted to bring up or share or talk about, particularly really around like men's, health awareness?
I guess being a father, because I'm a father, I have a daughter. So I think that's something that we could have touched on a little bit, as I know as a father. I have a great relationship with my daughter. And I think that's one thing that has helped with my mental health is spending time with her, helping her learn and nurture her has really helped me, with being a better person, being a better parent as well. So I think that's one thing I think we could have talked about. But she's 9 and it's amazing. And I love.
Thank you for sharing. Yes, thank you. I didn't want to pry.
No, that's fine.
I had thought maybe, but but thank you because I have parenting. Like it's good to know you're a father because I was going to ask. Like you have a dad, and what are the things like little kids need from with in the realm of men's health? Like what do we girls, boys? Like what do we need from our dads? Now you're a dad. And, sometimes when we become that parent, we realize, oh, like I was saying earlier, the things that maybe we didn't get or we want to do different, right? We get to kind of try different now. And so what comes up for you in the things that you're trying to show her as like, like what kind of man you are, or the kind of man that, you hope she, because I said to my dad, I'm like, you are my first relationship with a man. Right. Yeah. It's like, and I said, interviewed him, the most nervous interview ever was with my dad. And I'm like, what's that like? And he's like, until you brought that up, I didn't even think of it that way. I'm like, well, you were my first, whether you care about it or not, my first role model. Right. So, yeah, back at you with that.
Yeah. What I'm learning is because me and her mom aren't together anymore, but what I'm learning is the most important, the number one thing that you can give to your kid as a father to a daughter is the time and being there and being present and helping them grow as far as holding their hand, but not carrying them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just being present, being there is what they want the most, especially at a young age, because they're not going to understand all of the bills and all of the, until they have those responsibilities themselves. But what they are never going to forget is that, hey, daddy was always there when I had something at school, when I had this or that. That's the number one thing that I believe you could give. Of course, we have to put a roof over their heads and put food on the table, clothes on their back. But it's sometimes that can mask you thinking that you're being there for them fully. You know what I mean? So time.
Mm-hmm. They like really teach us.
Yeah.
You know, the real lessons too. Like, oh, I guess I should have learned that one, or things. You know. Like,
yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
It's never ending. It's a beautiful ride, though.
It is, and I think as a parent, like we have to be alert and aware and attuned to the fact that our like this generation of parenting, you know, these kids are getting way more information, and you know, we had to go to the library or we had to ask someone to find out things, you know, like what is sex or what is this. And today they have so much access about mental health, everything, and you know, digital, all that stuff. And so I think sometimes we think, oh, they're just kids, but these kids are like, you know, learning in a world where we have to be very aware of what's going on.
Yeah, so even like with her, with the conversations, like I'm like, you know, conversations like when she was born that I thought I'd wait till she's 13. Like I'm having at 9 going on to wait, like she's going to turn 10 to double digits. Okay, you're ready for this conversation. I was going to, it's, you know, they're coming faster. All the, you know, the do's, the don'ts, the birds, the bees, and all of that. They get, because they know way before we even, like you said, we just think, oh no, they know what's going on.
Yeah.
They're great actors and pretending they don't. It's so good.
I know. Sometimes I'm jealous. I'm like, man, I wish I had that skill too. I always wanted to be an actress. No, I do you feel like learning and getting to know your daughter has changed your perspective on how your parents parented you?
Oh, 100%. But it's also showed me that the great things that that I took from them, that I'm instilling her, you know, and also the do's and don'ts. You know, there's certain things that I'm like, oh, okay, I see it. That's a little different. I wouldn't do that with my daughter, but it's weird because then you start realizing you are your parents as well. That's the one thing. Like, oh, damn, I'm sounding exactly like them. I'm saying exactly.
I know, right? You're just like, oh.
Then you're like, okay, well, maybe I got to start doing things a little different. Because, you know, we always there's that thing about our parents that we love, and there's always that thing that we're like, come on, mom, come on, dad, like, come on, like, you know.
Yeah. So, I have to make an observation out of this whole conversation. You like really lit up when you started talking about your daughter, and it was really cool. Like even the sun's coming in, like the ray on. I'm like, this is so cool. Like, you know, it's nice to observe that, you know, because we don't maybe see that on ourselves sometimes. We're so hard on ourselves as parents as well. So, I appreciate the sharing. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Okay, then the second last thing is call to action. So that's just me eating my noises. Like, okay, one thing, if only one thing people, you know, listening today would leave with, like, what do you hope that they'll walk away with your episode?
To lead, you know, whatever you're doing in life, lead with love and a kind heart. Be kind to others. And yourself.
Yeah, that's the one, right? The self-compassion.
Yeah.
That's probably, Okay, so then back to you. You have fun things going on. Can you tell us like where, you know, if we want to come to a show, or you have like a fun tour starting, you have some music that you've been releasing. Can we hear a little bit about that?
Yeah, we have a new single coming out, and it's produced by Classified. So he's my brother. I've been working with him for a long time, Canadian hip hop legend. And we going out on tour coming up November. We're heading across country. Not doing the Maritimes, even though the tour is called the Welcome to the Maritimes tour, but we don't have any Maritime dates yet because he's been doing tons of shows out there, and I've been on some of those shows with him. So I'm sure he'll like last minute pull some, you know, some dates. But we're going to be starting in Winnipeg,
November 6th.
Yeah. So if you want to check it out, you can go to www.classifiedhiphop.com, and the tickets are there. And yeah, I'm excited. Rhea May, Owen Sound, Brett Matthews, DJ IB. It's gonna be awesome. I haven't been on tour with him since 2008, I believe, was the last tour I did with him. So it's gonna be fun.
Oh, that's exciting.
Come on out if you're there. Check the JRDN music Instagram, and you can find the tickets.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm coming to your Calgary show.
You gotta come. It's my birthday.
I know, and your birthday.
I'm trying to convince my girlfriend to come too.
Okay, yes. We'll have a little birthday fist bump.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And if that we can buy that merch somehow, if we would.
This?
Yeah, I know.
Do you want one?
My girlfriend, she would love, like she would love that.
Okay, you just tell me the size, and you don't have to buy it at all. I'll bring it. I'll bring a little.
My merch. We'll swap. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it. Perfect. I'll bring. You just tell me the size.
Okay.
So then, my last thing was going to be thanking you, as my notes say. Thank Jordan. So thank you, Jordan, for coming on and talking with me. I hope that you'll be back. Next time we can do more Jordan talks.
Congrats again, 100 shows. Maybe get me on the 200 if you need.
Every like 100, we get a little bit of you. Okay.
We work hard, and we'll see where we're at then.
Oh, I love that. That's like, let's put that out there. 100 more. So for everyone else listening, these conversations are door openers. If there's anything you want to add to this conversation today, particularly around men's health awareness coming up, you know where to find us. If you have questions for Jordan, you know where to find him. We will, in the show notes, post where you can get in touch with him. Otherwise, thank you so much, sir, for coming on and giving me some of your time.
Thank you.